You're listening to Dear Gen Z, real stories, raw advice, and timeless lessons from the generations before us. Each week, we sit down with someone who's lived a little longer to bring you insights on life, love, purpose, and everything in between. Because sometimes the best advice doesn't come from social media. It comes from those who've been there.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Dear Gen Z. I'm your host, Sean Modi, and today we have a topic that is really tailored towards Gen Z. No matter if you're going into middle school, high school, college, or even just graduated and you're heading into the workforce. You see, this topic today really covers over probably one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your life, and that's which career you decide to go into. Now, for my guest today, I have Laura Fortner with us. She is the founder of Higher Edge, a private career advisory that really helps you jumpstart your career and make sure you're fully set up. So Laura, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Great to be here.
So I chose you in specific for this conversation today because you're an entrepreneur yourself, right? And entrepreneurs, the way they come up with a business idea is they need to find a problem, right? You need to make a solution for a certain problem that you see. And clearly you saw a problem with career exploration and students fresh out of college jumpstarting their career. So that's why I wanted to talk to you today. And what led you to start Higher Edge and really try to solve this issue?
Absolutely. Well, it does stem from my 25 years of experience in the business world. So I think it might be helpful if I take you a little bit through my personal path from college to career to the corporate side, then startups, and then my own venture now on the entrepreneurial side, and some of the inspiration that kind of came through that. So grew up on Long Island, came here to New Jersey to go to college, went into Princeton, a French major, and came out 4 years later an East Asian Studies major. For me, I have an affinity for languages and was totally captivated by my Mandarin and Japanese language coursework. So that really drew me into that direction. I spent each of my 3 college summers really immersing myself in different languages and working in overseas internships. So I really got to put those language skills to work. And for me, it was always clear I wanted to do a career at that stage in international business. Went on to business school. I went to Harvard for my MBA. Had a fascinating summer internship in business school. We worked with a venture capital firm in Beijing and got a chance to really work the ground, doing market research, partnership development, launching new ventures in a developing country, and again, getting to use those Chinese language skills. So for me, that was a great way for me to validate that things that made me excited. It was super satisfying to launch new businesses. So when I graduated business school, was excited to launch into international media and entertainment and was picked up by MTV Networks International to launch their Nickelodeon channels. With that, I had a great experience there. And one of the hardest things about getting that job, you think about all the interviews we coach our students through, they made me actually interview in Mandarin. So I had to do a lot of studying on the side, researching all the right vocabulary that they don't teach you in the classroom about television networks and advertising and programming and such. So it was really, I came to learn from my boss after I was hired that, it was an unbelievably competitive process, hundreds of applicants, of top MBAs trying to vie for their, starting point with their career. And it was really that cultural and language experience that I had that differentiated me in that process. So, had a great experience at Nickelodeon, moved to Time Warner after a couple of years, launched businesses with Cartoon Network and CNN, moved from TV to international for a while there, to international to digital, and then joined my first venture-backed startup. 3 venture-backed startups. The first one was a company called Cafe Mom, probably before your time. Maybe your mom would recognize it. Became the largest community of moms online at that point. Fast forward 2 more. You might have heard of Whistle Sports. It's really a Gen Z sports network, really focused on the next gen of sports consumers and video content across social platforms. So with that trajectory, I would say one of the things that I saw across the board, I had a lot of opportunities to hire interns, a lot of opportunities to hire new grads, and seeing the ways that they were coming to the workplace prepared, and frankly, ways they could have been even better prepared, was really the inspiration for starting Higher Edge.
That's awesome. That Whistle Sports, that was my childhood, Dude Perfect, Whistle Sports. I was always watching all that. That's awesome. But I just wanted to that was interesting how you said you went in as a French major, came out East Asian studies, and then you ended up doing international business, and now you're an entrepreneur. So that brings me to my next point. Like, kids go in to college,
Right.
like for one thing, like you said, you went in for French, and then
Mhm.
they come out a completely different thing or something related along those lines. Like,
Right.
how important would you say it is to, or if it's important at all, to find yourself, like really know what you want to do before you go into college? Or
Mhm.
do you think it's college is a time to, like really find yourself and figure out what you want to do there rather than know in high school?
I think college is an awesome time to be able to explore a lot of different interests, whether those are academic interests, professional interests, personal interests. I really think students should go in open-minded and with that, curiosity and discovery in mind. And, there's also the potential to pursue professional paths that are not 100% aligned to your major. I think a
Right.
lot of students today feel like it's all got to fit and they've got to do business or econ if they're going to go into the business world. I think when I was graduating, we didn't feel that same way. We knew art history majors who became investment bankers. And so
Right.
there were ways that you could explore professional interests, learn what those fields were about, meet people, test the waters, to have internships that, regardless of your field of study. So I think that's something that we took away.
Right, yeah, and there's something like interesting you said. Like I was talking to a dad at one of the graduation parties I was at a couple weeks ago, and
Yep.
he said that his son, he's at Columbia right now. He's in engineering major and he's into finance. So like there's so many roles within those categories like finance. Like kids don't know every role within finance. Like, hey, what are you doing in college? Yeah, I want to get into like a bank or something. Yeah, but like, what do you want to do in finance? So like, oh, I don't know, but there's like banking, there's private equity, there's like
Mhm.
equity research, there's a whole bunch of things. So people don't know that what they're doing could actually align. Because like, if you told someone, hey, I went to go study like French in college, how the hell did you start your own business then, right? It
Right.
like some people don't connect that in their mind. So that brings me to my next point. Like, how do you think that kids should really exploit their creativity, right? To find, like, for example, my cousin, she's really into fashion, right? Really into fashion design, like designer handbags, like all that stuff. She got into business and she's like my dad was her mentor. She's like, I really don't want to get into investment banking. But now it has the opportunity to go work at, let's say, like LVMH and be like like do their marketing or do their finances there. So how do you think kids like figure out how to connect their creativity and their passion to what maybe would be like a suitable career path for them in the future?
Excellent question. I think that's a big part of our process when we're working with our clients. And,
Right.
many of our clients start very much at that discovery phase and finding their fit. So our advisors are talking them through, what are some of the things that you really enjoy? What are the things you're good at? What would your friends say, stand out about you in terms of your characteristics? Are you great at organizing things? Are you great on the financial side? What do
Right.
you bring? And what are some of the paths and types of jobs that align with that? We also help our clients understand, how does the world of work in the world of business? There are industries, there are functions within each company, and
Exactly.
really understanding your profile, what you like, what you're good at, and how that aligns with the different roles within companies is a big part of helping you put your launch strategy in place and really think about, well, gee, would I really be thriving in a finance role, or am I a sales personality? Or, do I
Right.
like the creativity of marketing that comes into it? And then to your point, Sean, is it, fashion that really excites me, or for me, media and entertainment, or for somebody else, it might be the auto industry or sports. How can we connect the industry and the function to get you aligned where you're going to make your best contribution and be really satisfied?
Yeah. So just on that note, like at least what I think is like when you're happy and when you're satisfied, when you're good at something, that's
Mhm.
when you're going to be able to do your best work. So
Absolutely.
are there any exercises that you put your clients through to like in particular to find what makes them happy or what they're interested in?
Well, there are a couple of things. One of the first things we do is walk through all of their experiences, both in school and any professional or work experiences they've had. And as
Right.
they talk through that, we really understand, well, what did you like most? What didn't you like about that? Was there anything that was frustrating? What did you learn? So, some of that is helpful for us just to understand kind of the path they've been on. We also have a couple of, light surveys and quizzes that really get them thinking about, well, if you think you like marketing, what are some of the things you've done that demonstrate that?
Right.
Even if you haven't officially been a marketing coordinator at LVMH, maybe you have promoted a school club and you liked creating the flyers or promoting things on social media. So starting to think about the skills and knowledge and your approach to things that could be transferable to the working world and get them to start to make those connections.
Right. Yeah. So another thing I wanted to hit on is like at least for me, my parents have done a great job like really exposing me to all like their whole social network, right? All my family, all their friends, all their kids. And I've really had the privilege of being able to talk to all these people and figure out what they do for a living, right? So like I was 8 years old talking to this uncle at a family function about what he does for a living, like what a neurosurgeon does, right? How important do you think it is to really expand your network and start talking to people about what they do so you have a better idea of maybe what you want to get into before you get into college, right? So then you can maybe pick the right major for you before it even happens.
Yeah, I think that exposure aspect is key, and the sooner you can start, the better. I remember going to, middle school events on like take your, share your career with the students kind of things. And
Yeah.
so, even from an early age all the way through, I love the fact that you were able to take such great advantage of the friends and family network that you had access to.
Right.
Some of our clients, may wind up maybe they're from a family of doctors and nobody's come up through the business world that they find themselves interested in, or their parents are professors in the world of academia. So, we think about all the different ways that you can try to get information and connect with people about their paths, whether they're currently in your friend and family network, and getting our clients comfortable with reaching out to people who would be interesting and could be helpful guidance for them too, whether that's an alum from the school that they attend, somebody else in their town, somebody at a company that they're interested in. And you'd be amazed how open people are and to sharing their perspectives with somebody who's just starting to think about their future career.
Right. I feel like that exposure part is just so important because kids
Absolutely.
only really know like three or four career paths, maybe. Like they know what their
Mhm.
parents do, maybe their cousins, maybe their uncles, and
Right.
that's it, right? They don't really, I feel like people take more time like talking about what they want to do for spring break rather than like talking to other people about what they want to do for like a career, maybe, which
Very
might
good.
be a little bit more important. Um,
Right.
but I just wanted to dig into higher edge a little bit. Like, so what does the process look like? Like, if someone wanted, I will add the link in the description for the YouTube and Spotify to Higher Edge
Thank you.
for this episode. What if someone was interested and wanted to get a kickstart? Like, what would the process look like from the link to possibly working with you guys?
Sure. Well, I will say, our main focus in terms of helping clients are current college students and recent graduates, usually 2, 3 years out of school, maybe haven't found their first real career-oriented
Right.
role. We usually start the process with a free consult. We love to meet new people and really understand where they're at in their journey, and that helps us understand, how we can be most of help. So part of that process before we even meet, and we're doing some of this earlier today with some new leads that were coming in, they fill out a little pre-meeting survey. We get a copy of the resume, a LinkedIn profile if they have one. They fill out some things on what they've done, what they think they want to do, where they think they need help, and then we chat. We get on a video. We have a conversation for about a half an hour. Really get an understanding what some of their friction points are, their frustrations, where they think they need support. Then we come back to them with a customized proposal. It gives them a sense what an engagement would look like. We also match them up with an advisor that is aligned to their industry focus.
Right.
So, I myself, I tend to focus on many of our media and entertainment clients. I have a colleague, for instance, who came up in the investment banking ranks and worked at Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan Chase. She helps many of our clients who are interested in that field. So our advisors are bringing a certain amount of industry experience and networking capabilities to the engagement as well. But once we get started, it's usually over several weeks. We have a combination of live coaching sessions. Each one of those is following a proven process that's worked well for our hundreds of clients over the years. And we're walking through, finding your fit and your focus and developing your strategy, building out your personal marketing materials, making sure your resume, your LinkedIn, your cover letter are telling your best story. They're really cutting through the clutter. They're getting through the applicant tracking systems and the technology out there so that you're getting the interviews, working through interview prep, all the way through helping you kind of negotiate your deal at the end when you get to your final offers.
That's awesome. And I just wanted to touch on, you said you help people 2 to 3 years out of college too, like graduates. How
Right.
common do you find it that kids will like find out they're passionate about something and enter a career completely unrelated to what they do in college?
I think that happens quite a bit. I think what we do find a little more the challenge, or the people we tend to see, are those that haven't yet found the career yet. And so they're finding themselves in, sadly, this trend of underemployment. They're working, but they're working in jobs that don't necessarily require the 4-year degree that they've earned. And they're working in jobs that aren't necessarily on a career path that I think they're ultimately looking to be on and that they would be more satisfied in pursuing. So we're often helping those recent graduates with making that next chapter happen.
That's awesome. Now we're running out of time for this episode, but I just wanted to ask one more question and
Sure.
tailored. So your higher ed tailors more towards college students and graduate students. Do you have any advice in particular for maybe kids in the early stages of high school or even late stages of high school, maybe even going into college? Like any advice on should they be doing anything now to maybe help them, maybe expose them to possible career paths or things that make them happy?
I would say look at every, potential volunteer opportunity, club, summer job as a possibility to learn new things about yourself, what you like, what you're good at, as well as how organizations and businesses work. So, I think you can get a feel for some of your skills and some of the experiences that you want that will guide you in your future path. I think those are some of the best things that you can do. And don't be afraid to ask for opportunities to shadow someone or to meet somebody for coffee, or friends and family are getting together. Strike up that conversation and learn a little bit more about what someone else does. I think that curiosity will
Right.
really serve you well.
Yeah, that curiosity definitely will, because we got to always remember that these people that we're trying to talk to, the people in these roles, they are human too. They've been where we've been, and they're always going to be willing to help someone. So we have to really get over that like fear of talking to new people and just really spread our wings.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really found this conversation beneficial for me, but I think it'll also be very beneficial for Dear Gen Z or Dear Gen Z as a whole.
Well,
So,
thank you for the opportunity. It's great to connect with you today, Sean. Thank
and
you.
I will be dropping the link to Higher Edge in the description of Spotify and YouTube. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me and I will try to put you guys in touch. But that's it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed, found something beneficial out of this, and looking forward to the next episode next week. Thank you.